On Thursday, 14th November 1940, everything changed in Coventry. At around 7 p.m., the air raid siren sounded just as it had done on many occasions this year. Little did the people of Coventry suspect that this was about to become the most prolonged and devastating attack on any city in the history of warfare to date. The raid, known first to the Germans as Operation Moonlight Sonata, but known more familiarly by everyone here as simply the Blitz.
Second World War, painful. It was really painful for the people that had to fight in the war, the trench warfare. I mean, we learned at school about how the soldiers felt and the conditions that they were kept in. And it's bad, and we're supposed to be protecting our borders from foreign invasion. So you've got your country, which is a nationality, and people within there are supposed to be protected from other people. But these borders change, and the Second World War was about changing these borders, so one leader would have more control, and their way of thinking and their way that they wanted the world to work was sort of implemented over other ways. So yeah, it was the spread of ideology, a sort of liberal capital world. I mean, it was a lot about persecution of a race. Directly in the Second World War in Germany, the Jews were persecuted because of who they were. They just had a different culture, a different upbringing.
This particular air raid was, of course, far more indiscriminate and inhuman than anything Coventry had ever experienced. The concentration of the raid in our relatively small town central brought a horrific attack on Coventry to the immediate attention of the whole world. This publicity itself was a break from convention. The result of such an attack was usually kept quiet. However, the Ministry of Information chose this occasion to make use of the press to expose the senseless brutality of the Nazi.
Well, it was all right before it was bombed, but after they'd bombed it, it was terrible. Everything was blown in, all the shop windows and everything. And the shop doors, and you couldn't go in or you couldn't go there. It was terrible, you know. I had 7 uncles, and they all done 7 years apiece in it. And my father was in it, and my brothers were in it. And they took my brothers out of the factory to go in the army. I mean, they didn't want to go, but if you said no, you'd get into trouble because you were refusing to fight for your country.
In the new Coventry, old and new are side by side. The old stand for the history, and the new stand for the future. We can't forget a painful memory, not for animosity, but for the peace in the world.